Lionel, is that you?
There, I think I got it. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Lionel.
Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Lionel.
You know what I was thinking today?
Not much. I don't know. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking this is the first time you've ever co-hosted an episode of The Modeler's Life.
Yeah. We've done a couple of intros, but never. Yeah, I've never co-hosted.
Yeah, we've done a couple of intros. You've been interviewed a couple of times, but we've never single-handedly together steered the ship and done a interview.
I'm sort of more of a boat anchor of the ship. Just a heads up.
So this is Stephen Atwell, of course. Everybody, I hope everybody knows. Eventually, that's the plan, that everybody on the planet will know Stephen Atwell of Midwest Model Railroad in Independence, Missouri, on US 40, North US 40, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know that I've ever applied a direction to it.
Well, I think that's the address. I sent you a couple of those snazzy blue T-shirts, and I think there was a north in the. It was like 17 something US 40 North or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is also Midwest Model Railroad is also the home to all your AML merchandise. You just go to the URL midwestmodelrr.com, slide across the navigation bar, click on AML, and boom, you are in a wonderland of AML merchandise, hats, T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, mugs, just about anything you could possibly want. So today, Stephen, how many shirts you sell? Like a couple hundred, or?
Yes. No. A couple. I just zoned out after you said a couple. Yes, a couple.
Yeah, a couple. We got to do something about getting some people. There was another fella that posted on the Facebook's page. Let me see if I can find it. No, I can't now. But I can't remember his name. But he was so excited. He got another order from Midwest. And he took the AML sticker off and put it up on. And I'm thinking, man.
I saw that guy. He had one of the original 3-inch stickers, and now he has a couple of the 2-inch stickers.
Yeah.
I guess he's just keeping tallies of how many orders he's had arrive from us.
Well, there you go. That's good. That's a good idea. Yeah. How many keep up. It's like, yeah, that's cool. I like that idea. In NASCAR racing, every time you win a race, you get a checkered flag sticker to put above the door.
It's like all the college football players who every time they do something special, they get those logos they put all over their helmets.
Ohio State. Yeah. And there's a few universities that do that. All right. Tonight, we're going to end up talking to a guy that is, this interview is solely your fault, Stephen, because you did a Facebook Live a few months ago, and you had a fella on there called Greg McComas, who owns a business called Mackreal. And
yeah. I think we can pass the blame straight on to him because this is solely his fault.
And you were telling me the story about when he asked you if you'd carry his stuff, you were just like, yeah, give me 2 of everything. Give me 3 of everything. And he was like, really? That's people need to know the way it works at Midwest Model Railroad. Just give me 2 of everything and I'll sell it.
I almost felt bad about it too, because it was one of those, he had reached out to me in like August, and I said, well, we're about to move into our new space in October, so I don't want to deal with moving any extra parts. Give me a call back at the end of October. And he called me back at the end of October, and I was like, I am so swamped in this move right now. I want your product. Your product looks great. The samples you sent are great. But if you wait for me to submit an order, I don't know how long it'll be. So if you just send me an invoice for 2 of everything and 4 of your best sellers, or up to 6 of your best sellers. And he was like, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
All right, let's get Greg in here. Stephen, can you go to the green room and get him out of the...
Yeah. Second door, third door, second door.
Second door.
I'm always on the other end of this thing.
Second door on the right.
Hey, Greg. Greg, we're ready for you.
Come on in, Greg.
All right. Good evening, everyone.
Good. There you go. Okay, Greg, what's your deal? What's going on here, buddy? What's the whole thing? I've been looking at your website. It looks really cool. You're got a lot of interesting stuff. So, do you work for the railroad?
I work in the rail industry. I'll leave it at that. It's kind of anonymity. But I've actually been a transportation guy since college, but work a little bit in the rail industry. But Mackreal specifically started in June, I guess May, with the EOTs. And I've been an operator. The Michigan Interstate St. Clair sub is my HO scale layout. And getting EOTs for operators that want to be able to remove an EOT in a session just didn't exist. And we thought, hey, this is a good idea. I have a friend of mine who's a 3D printer. We kind of put our heads together and drew up some ideas and saying, how can we make this work? It took us about 20 to 25 iterations to get an EOT that was removable and effective on an HO scale car. And so, of course, then we said, okay, well, now we have a bazillion couplers on the market. How do we go about which couplers? And, stick with KD as a gold standard. We designed one that fit the KD5 and then the KD58. And then really from there, that was the first two things we made. And I had a buddy, Mike Mettello, up in Virginia. He said, "You're going to sell those, right?" And I said, "Sure, yeah." And that's really kind of how Mackreal Genesis. It was really kind of just a great idea, and we decided to carry it forward. And being a modeler myself, I mean, I did go to school for business, so I should have some sense of what to do and how to do it. And just really kind of focused on, making a detail part that was effective, durable, and also for the operator and the modeler. And we thought we can do this, we can do it unpainted, so people got to do it. And, I have a young family, and a lot of people's time at the workbench is limited. So we thought, let's take it to the next level. Let's next step. Let's paint them. Let's detail them. So they can't light. There's no physical way to light one that small on removable, but we can paint it look really good. And we can put real reflective tape on it and bring it as close as we can to what folks see in the prototype. At the same time, able to fit into people who have a hard to see, or they have sausage fingers like myself. And then that's where it kind of blossomed out. And so we went to start with really 2 products. Now we offer 56 individual product items. I know Stephen, he loves that because it's just like he keeps adding in more and more to his product line. So we start with the EOTs, offer those in 7 colors of the 2 different sizes. And then we jumped into Ballast car solar panels next, just another modern model that's just not existing on the market.
Yeah,
And
what is a Ballast car solar panel?
That is interesting itself. So, Ballast cars, I guess up till the modern age, they operated either by hand crank, air They also work via air from the airlines. And so one of the things that a lot of modern companies that work in the maintenance of weight industry, as I researched, is making these cars independently operable. So they don't require air from the train. They don't require, manual intervention or a manual hand crank of a ballast car door. There's usually about 4 doors per car. And so the solar panel basically charges a battery, and on one end of the car, there is a control box. And that solar panel charges that battery and allows that specific car to operate independently of any other ballast cars in the train. So it can be one car by itself out there with one of those maintenance away trucks, one of the Brandt trucks, and they're able to operate it. And that control box inside there's different companies make them, but there's a remote control or a push button, so it allows the ballast technician, who is usually out there working with the maintenance crews from the railroads, or the maintenance or way employee from the railroad, then to operate that car much simpler and much easier as it trains going walking speed. They can push a button, or with a remote control, they can actually control those ballast doors independently and put the ballast where they want. And
so the solar panels then provide electricity to operate the ballast or the hopper doors on the ballast car.
Yeah, a greener way, right? So, and then even to take it to another level, that some trains now are actually even GPS enabled. So, a maintenance employee or a roadmaster for a railroad can say, "I want to lay out ballast in a certain territory," and he can GPS mark it, and then that train can come through, and it will automatically do it. And so they really have the technology really has gone a long way with the ballast deployment through ballast cars. And so, when we're doing that, we were going through the research process.
All right, hang on a minute now.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. We got lots of questions here.
Okay, lots of questions.
Oh, can I start real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the dummy because I feel like we need to at least say it. What is an EOT device?
So EOT device, sure. That's your end of train device, your FRED. So that's the thing that replaced the caboose. So, people call me a model railroad caboose killer as well. So,
So Fred, like Fred the sock from the Fred the fighting socks. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you, Greg?
I don't. I apologize.
No.
But I think they're both from the same state, I think.
Yeah. Where are you located?
So I'm
Greg?
actually in Texas. So I'm
Okay.
Yep.
Like
So,
near a big city or something?
Yeah, Fort Worth. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which is quite a sprawling area. So
That's right. Yeah. You were at the Plano train show there with our buddy Chris Atkins too.
yeah, he's not too far away from me. So he can, not to say a stone's throw, but a New York minute or a mile, I guess you want to say. He's not too far away.
All right,
So,
So when did you start doing this Mackreal company?
And really in May. So we started
Like May of 2020.
Yeah, in the middle of a pandemic, we said, or I say so we're gonna start a model railroad parts business in the middle of a pandemic.
And how is it? Is it been a dismal flop so far, or is it far exceeded your expectations?
It has far exceeded my expectations. It is a cottage industry. Just myself doing the work, but we're now located in all across the United States. Probably 3/4 of the 50 states and territories. In Canada, we have a distributor in Canada. Got kind of 4 brick and mortar stores here in the States that carry it in store. I got 2 e-retailers, and then of course we're in Australia and New Zealand, and now in 3 countries in Europe. So for 9 months, it has far exceeded my expectations. And part of it is I also like to focus on the quality aspect of it. And while it is a part-time business, I always tell folks that customer service is a full-time endeavor. So just because it's part-time does not mean that the customers are not taken care of. We're not listening, and we're always looking to improve.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of a fascinating story because like already, like Stephen, have you noticed that this product seems like it would sell pretty good? Like, how did you do at the train show? Wait a minute, first, Stephen, have you been noticing this thing has been selling at the store?
Yeah, we did. I mean, we advertised it pretty hard the first week and a half it was in or so, and we moved through a lot of inventory and probably restocked 50% of our entire first purchase within 2 weeks. Wow.
And your head's probably just about swimming, is it, Greg?
It is. It keeps me busy. So as I, working with Stephen and working with Spring Creek Model Trains, for example, is at Plano. And they had my product, and so we were pushing it hard. So I had a display table showing it off, and kind of pushing folks, hey, you want to go buy it here at the show? Spring Creek has it, and so it was a fantastic opportunity. Plano was great. It was great to see everyone out at the show. Of course, using COVID-19 social distancing, everyone did a great job of following the protocols, and so everyone was able to have a safe, fun time. But it was great. It's been absolutely amazing with the products we've got now, and we were also able to show off some of our up and coming products. They'll be coming out here in the next couple months. So it was a great time.
So you're already developing new products already.
Already. It's we're always trying to working on what we got here. We have a great basis. So we got the solar panels. We added some PTC antennas that are all ready to go. And one of the things we're trying to take away from all these product lines, whether it's new products coming out or even what we have now, we've added to the lineup since the fall, is we're trying to...
Slow down here a minute.
Okay.
Slow down here a minute. Time out. I'm calling timeout from the sidelines. This guy, Stephen, he's talking like a grizzled old manufacturing veteran. We got product line coming out, new products coming out, and like he's been doing it for 9 months.
I mean, it seems in the model, and like I'll say from experience, it seems that the new people entering the field that don't really have experience in necessarily the way it's been done are doing better than the ones that are trying to do it the way it's always been done.
Yeah, exactly. So where do you get? First, we got to find out more about you, Greg. So you work in the rail industry, you said?
I do.
Can you give us a hint what that would be?
I move. I work around big stuff, really large loads that I can tell you. So
Okay, and are you like a contractor or something?
no, I work for one of the major rail carriers. So
Oh, okay, so you actually work for a railroad.
for a railroad.
And can you tell us the name of the railroad?
I can't. I really try to keep that anonymity of it.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah.
Well, don't then if you don't want to. And I won't tell you where the AML merchandise is sold then.
Oh, I know where that's sold at. That's crazy.
Oh, okay.
I reuse those boxes. That's the funny part is I get those little 4 square boxes from Stephen, and I turn around, I repurpose them and ship them back out. So AML is getting sent not only from Midwest, but on occasion it will bounce out of a Mackreal order. So someone could potentially pick up an AML box.
Perfect. That's perfect. So how long have you been a model railroader?
I had been a model railroader since I was 5 years old. Started out, so I'm actually from Michigan. I grew up in the Detroit area, and under the umbrella of the Grand Trunk Western and really CSX. But from a modeling perspective, I started out in LGB. Santa one year to my grandparents' house, brought a nice big oval of LGB with a station and a locomotive shed and a simple siding or two with a little green stains engine, and that's where my hobby has just kind of progressed from there. And I kind of started getting to HO scale probably around 9 or 10. Kind of made that transition to a smaller scale, and we had basements up in Michigan, so we could. I had a layout. I had a layout, and then we came to Texas. Moved to Texas. Let's see, back in 98, 99ish, moved down to Texas, and came to a different predicament. There's no basements down here, so I was going to high school, and I had a layout at my parents' house, and we had a spare room, so I was able to make the most of that, and that's when I really started getting into building shelf layouts and understanding and making the most of how do I fit a lot of layout into a space that's unfortunately not the most optimal for a train layout. And fast forward to now, the current version of the Michigan Interstate, which has been under construction since 2012, is a double deck shelf layout with a helix and staging yards, and it's designed to allow for continuous running. It has a little duck under for the upper deck, and so we've I definitely say found ways to and that's an 11 by 13 room. So trying to maximize that, lots of coves, lots of curves, so it kind of breaks up the sight lines, and so you can't see an entire train at one point, and so it does feel like it's a longer run than it actually really is.
So what's your railroad called? Your model railroad?
Yeah, it's the Michigan Interstate. It is a prototype, proto-freelance, class 2 regional. So it has, being it's a freelance kind of regional, has an interesting backstory tied into the Grand Trunk, New York Central, Pennsylvania, kind of all the roads. And go back in the 80s, Michigan went through a lot of line rationalization, and so kind of tying in a little bit of a freelance history, kind of created this freelance railroad that really kind of runs east and west and north and south across the lower state of Michigan. So it's a lot of fun. It's been a great layout. It's on. There is a blog. So for a long time, social media wise, it had a blog that I documented the construction of it, different topics like signal installation, scenery, and that blog is still out there.
What's the address of the blog?
It is Michigan Interstate. It's a blogger. I got to pull up here. I need to.
Yeah, pull it
Michigan
up.
Interstate. Let me get it here.
Michigan Interstate. I go through Michigan.
It's Michigan Interstate. It is all in one word. Michigan Interstate Model RR.blogspot.com.
Oh, okay. Michigan Interstate.
That was So the last post I did actually was really October of 2018. But I leave the blog there because for folks who are looking for resources that may not be on social media like Facebook, there's a ton of resources that I've documented throughout the years, and there's lots of links to other bloggers that have fantastic railroads or have railroads. So trying to also make sure that I'm leaving resources, leaving behind resources
that people can use, and one being inspired by as a modeler, and also say, hey, Greg's done this. Okay, well, I can do this too, and so it doesn't have to be complicated. It's it's a hobby, and take it from there. So yeah, I've actually had folks ask me about restarting the blog again. So
I got questions.
Okay. I love questions.
Hey, Stephen, this guy talks more than I do.
I know. I'm hoping one of your questions is about the big old boat we're looking at on the blog site.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, there's that too. Well, and it's a really good blog, so I would just keep going, like just start adding to it again.
Yeah, I'm going to. I've had a lot of folks ask to keep going. Hey, if it's just once a quarter or once a month, Greg, can you throw out a post there? We really like reading the blog, and so I've had a lot of folks ask, and so yeah, we're going to restart that here this quarter, first quarter of 2021. We're going to restart posting because there's a lot of great things, and it's exciting. The hobby is exciting to be in as a manufacturer, sure. As a modeler, absolutely, and I love sharing the journey. It's a lot of fun.
So Stephen wants to know about the big boat. There's a picture of a boat here. What is it's a Great Lakes freighter of some sort. So
yes.
So what is that? I'm only asking for Stephen's benefit.
Oh,
what is what is the question you want me to ask, Stephen?
No, I mean it just looks great. It immediately drew my attention and kept me going down the page.
Yeah. The whole page. Excuse me.
There's a couple.
I kind of blame, and he kind of knows this and he kind of doesn't. I kind of blame Bernard Kopinski for that because I got that really awesome book about modeling water terminals and waterside industries that he did. And after that, I grew up in the Great Lakes. And so I'm like, yeah, I got to have a freaking lake freighter. I mean, as one friend said, your swing bridge looks great, but it looks like a generic Midwest railroad. And I'm like, okay, how I fix that? I guarantee if I drop a lake freighter in there, I add a layout design element that says, yes, this is somewhere on the Great Lakes. Done. That is done. So picked one up, and they're hard to find. So this Barraco Marine Kit's been out of production for quite some time. It is a vacuum formed plastic kit. And it's about as craftsman as I think kits can be, other than literally building a boat from scratch. It's vacuum formed, which gives you some general outlines, but that is it. I mean, you had to cut the hull down and sand it. And it's really, like I've told a lot of folks, a kit like this, I think it would be intimidating, but at the same time, it's become a journey of increasing my hobby skills.
It looks like it's like
I may not learned or new. Gotta learn.
It looks like it's like 6 feet long.
Yeah, I was going to say it. Just when you talk about a boat, you don't really think of the size of the boat, but one of these pictures here has it sitting sort of maybe behind. It looks like probably the Medusa cement facility from Walther's, and it makes you could put the Medusa cement facility on the boat and it wouldn't look out of place. Like the boat is just that big.
It is. I think it's a little over 5.5 feet in length. So it does dwarf, which is great because the boat now it's been cut down and properly put into the scene. It's still being detailed, which is a long process. But overall, it helps create some great scale, especially in the smaller room. You put this large vessel in there, and you have a Trinity 3281 covered hopper and an SD40 in front of it, and they just look small. They look tiny. And so even in this 11 by 13 room, you're using the boat, you're able to kind of play with your senses and your vision a little bit and go, wow, like, am I in a humongous, is this like John Parker's Fall River division? No, this is Greg's, smaller Michigan interstate. But you get so focused on this one little scene in the corner that you don't worry about the rest of the room. It's all about the scene you're in. So this scene has really turned out pretty nice. It's going to have a track mobile. It actually has a track mobile. So some poor schmuck that gets stuck on that job at an op session gets to move one car at a time through the cement terminal.
Tom, have you had any operating sessions on your layout yet?
I have. So this layout in its current state since 2012, we've probably had around 12 sessions. I was trying to go for one a quarter. Sometimes that works, sometimes that didn't. We did have one early last spring. I think it was late January or February. We had one before COVID hit, and so we haven't had one since. But yeah, we were trying to be on pace with once a quarter doing a session. And even in this room, being 11 by 13, I can still get 4 or even 5 operators in there in a session. So, and none of us are very small guys at all. All of us are pretty big guys, husky guys. So we pack them in there, but everyone has a good time. It's not too claustrophobic because I have a feeling.
So we have our buddy Chris Atkins, who's on the podcast a lot.
Yes,
he's the guy that came up with the fans page, which we're still kind of mad at him about that. But the fans page is awesome. It's got like 700 people now, and people post all the time. It's really, really cool. So is the model railroad scene in the Dallas-Fort Worth area pretty robust?
It's, well, compared to other metropolitan areas, I would say it's on par, or probably actually a little bit less than folks would think. And that's really something that we're working to change. I know Chris, myself, a lot of our modelers are trying to encourage others to build layouts and looking at the space considerations, because no one really has a basement down here unless you live on and you have property, you have a larger area. Like Chris has his section house, which has his layout in it. A lot of folks are captive to have them in their garage if they're climate controlled, or in a small bonus room that they have in their house. So there's probably, I'd say 2-3 dozen, maybe 4 dozen operating layouts over the 10 million, 10 county, or I guess 8 million, 10 county metroplex. So I don't believe it's as robust as people would believe. So we're working to change that.
So all right, so let's get back to Mackreal, which is the reason we're here, because you've just started this company. So how did you start it? Did you just like wake up, bolt upright one day and go, I'm going to start making these end of train devices? Or like, what was okay, there were none out there, but it takes a little more than that. So basically, because your friend wanted to know if you'd sell them, you were making them on a 3D printer, I'm assuming?
Correct. Yeah, they're a resin print. So we were going to make some just for myself at least. And then he goes, we're going to sell those, right?
So you're saying we're, so was there somebody else involved, or?
Well, Mackreal is myself, is me, Greg. There's really no one else. I always say we. It's as a multiplier. But I work with Marshall Peterson. So Marshall Peterson is my 3D printer. He's an N scaler, and he lives very close to me. And so we're both garage operations. So he has his own business, MP scale models. He does N scale detail parts, kind of ad hoc custom printing services. And I got to know him during COVID back in March and April, just doing ad hoc 3D prints. I wanted to make a wrecked flat car. So I had to make the pedestals for the Red Streak flat car as a kit I just want to make for myself. And then I have a corrugated board plant, and I needed to make about 130 paper rolls. And so trying to make those out of dowel rods just didn't turn out too well. And so we got to know each other really well, and we had known each other because we operate in the Metroplex, DFW, Fort Worth area. It was kind of a pool of operators. And so I had known Marshall for some time, but we got to work through his 3D printing skills and understand his technology and the capability. And early on in COVID, while we're all kind of doing lockdowns and tons of hobby projects. And so when the idea came out, kind of approached him, and we started messing with it. And once we got to a design that would work, we said, okay, yeah, we could sell this. This could be sold. So, he makes them. I purchased the raw materials from him essentially. And then I go through a whole process of the finishing, completing, and of course, packaging and then marketing and distribution. So it's really 2 independent companies working together to kind of create a force multiplier. So I don't have nearly the time to do the 3D printing he does. And so I'm able to leverage the skills of both individuals to bring Mackreal to life and bring the product to market. And that's really the only way it's successful is having a team concept between 2 individuals and their own ventures, if you will.
So who is, so did you just start, so what made you contact Midwest Model Railroad and Stephen Atwell, who is the owner and proprietor along with his dad, Gary.
Well, if you would believe, actually listen to the podcast, Olive's Life podcast. I had a chance to listen to Stephen talk about the shop and the concept that he was going for, and basically kind of breaking all the rules, pushing the limits, saying, we're going to have a brick and mortar, and we're going to offer low cost, and here's how we're going to do it, and here's how we're going to be, leading in the industry as a hobby shop, an actual in-person hobby shop or an online hobby shop. And I told myself, I said that's a place that I want to. I say I align my goals and my as Mackreal, as an organization, myself. I align with what Stephen's doing, and that is our hobby is not retrenching. Our hobby is only getting better. And reached out to him to say, hey, I would like to put my stuff in your store. Here's what I offer, and can we talk? And that's really kind of how I started out with Stephen. And really the same conversation happened with Spring Creek Model Trains. They were my first vendor. And also I got Mainline Hobby up in Pennsylvania, and Arnie's now out in California. And so the same process is, we're finding fantastic stores, fantastic people who are driving this hobby forward, and aligning myself with them and saying, I want to have my product in your stores to continue pushing and furthering our hobby toward where everyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, I saw there was you were with a store called Arnie's in California. Did you ever heard of that store, Stephen?
I've not. That's the only one I haven't heard of, though. Mainline's doing sort of the same thing we are, with sort of ignoring all the classic, this is the way you do business. And they seem to be doing really well with it, too. And then I think everyone knows about Spring Creek.
Sure. Mainline Hobbies, where are they?
Maine. It is
MAINE.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought Greg said Pennsylvania.
Oh, are they in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, Blue Ridge Summit. So kind of down there at Gettysburg.
Those guys, yeah, okay. Yeah, and then there is that other company that Kaylee Zhang and keeps insisting we got to talk to that guy. I met him at Springfield. Remember they used to have a show, Stephen, called Springfield years ago?
That whole Amherst thing?
Yeah. Long time ago.
I was thinking about that this morning. A friend and I used to go up there each year, and I was like, oh, well, this would normally be when Mark and I would talk to each other and say, hey, are we going this year? All right, let's get in the car and go.
Those were the good old days, eh? Oh, I see you got your Michigan Interstate St. Clair subdivision on your Mackreal site.
Yeah.
I highly recommend everybody goes to the website. It's mackrealproducts.com. What's your best seller so far?
By far the best seller is our orange and yellow regular KD5 type coupler EOTs. Literally, I'd say the original versions are still by far the most popular for the EOTs, followed by our flags. The little orange and red flags we've created, and we do a pack of two for $6. Those have been very, very popular. Most folks, if they purchase a pack of EOTs, are grabbing a pack of flags as well. So, why not? It's a great feel. Now you got daytime and nighttime operations. So, those are probably by far the top seller. And of course, behind that would be our racks. So we've seen a lot of folks use our storage racks, which are designed to hold our EOTs, whether it's a 3-piece rack which holds 3 EOTs or 6, or a larger rack that holds 6 EOTs. We've seen folks use them for their service facilities, and not even use them for EOTs. Use them for holding MU cables, or even pieces of like scrap sheet steel, like they're at a car shop or a repair track. So we've seen folks use our racks in a variety of ways, and even modify them for that matter, to kind of fit the need, because they do come painted. They're painted either yellow or aluminum. And we go the extra mile and we do a little dry brushing to make them look rusty, because nothing on the railroad is ever new. So, folks, right out of the package, they have a rack that's ready to go on their layout, photo ready, operations ready. And, and that's kind of also the key, is trying to help the modelers make the most time, on their workbench. So
it sounds like you're really enjoying it.
It is a lot of fun. If it's not fun, there's no point in doing it. So.
Well, that's true. But so anyways, the regular EOT, it's compatible with KD5s type couplers, offered in 7 color schemes.
Correct.
Includes 3 EOTs per package, or Freds, like the sock. Gloss paint, hand-painted details, sealed with matte paint coat, and 3M Scotch Light reflective decal cut to scale size. Red glow in the dark on a real Perfect, man. Look at these things, and so for $20, you get 3 of them.
Yeah, and while we couldn't make them, people ask us. We get a lot of questions and say, do they actually light up? And the answer is no. They do not light up like other competitors or other EOTs on the market. That we can't do. But what we did do is we tried to add a little bit of an effect. And so in the lens on the rear end of the EOT that sticks on the back of the train, we put a phosphorescent red glow paint. And so if you put it under a high-powered LED light for about 10 to 15 minutes, it will glow red because it will actually absorb that light. And so we did the most we could to bring the operating function, if you will, to something that's so small and removable from the back of the train.
And you got a spectacular website here too.
Well, thank you.
It's beautiful. Like, did you do that yourself, or?
So that's actually a pre-canned platform. I am by no means a web editor, but it's from GoDaddy, and they do a nice job of offering templates and such. So you're able to take your content, your photos, your information, merge it with their really nice templates. They're very modern, up to date, and you can get a nice product out there for the customer for them to see and use pretty quick. And it's mobile friendly. And I think really cool parts on there is the catalog. So I got to update it. But right now there is a PDF catalog you can actually download to your phone, download to your desktop. So especially as dynamic as the product line is, we're always coming out with new things. The best place I can do is I can put a catalog on the website. You can view it there or download it. And
you must be going like a one-arm paper. You must be going like a
paper.
No, I was going to say you must be going like a one-arm paper hanger trying to keep up here.
It's a lot of evenings, a lot of weekends.
You got so many products here or items. Like, holy mackerel! You guys are going like crazy here.
Yes, solar panels. If we were going to do them, we went all the way. We were going to.
One of the really nice parts too is that all the pictures are actually high quality. There's a lot of details and detail companies that have pictures from 1990 still. They're like a half-assed pencil drawing to try to sell the thing. And that was really impressive when we got Greg's packet the first time. It actually had high quality pictures of all the products. It's like, well, this is nice.
Yeah, I mean. So is anybody else you have your wife involved packaging stuff up, or are you doing this all by yourself?
I do most of it myself. So when it comes to strategic decisions, I'm stuck on. I'll be like, hey, honey, what do you think? And she'll give me her thoughts, but really it's I'm successful because of her encouragement. She's always been encourageable of my hobby. When she got to know me in college and had married me, she knows I'm a model railroader. And she's embraced it, and so she came out to the show on Sunday with the kids, and everyone had a good time. But she was there on Friday helping me set up. So she's my biggest fan, my biggest support, and that's what, my opinion, really helps me drive it forward. Of course, all our friends and vendors as well. So it's really important, having a direct relationship with like Stephen, Dave, and Deb at Spring Creek, and everyone else. I really love that. Be able to give them a phone call, say, hey, how you doing? What products do you need? Are you out of anything? And then trying to make sure we're able to get that filled back into the inventory so they're able to offer that complete product line to the customer without saying, well, I don't have that stock. And so that relationship is extremely important.
So by the time this comes out, it'll already have been released. These hopper covers of some sort? What are these that you're?
So those. So what we're going to be offering and what's coming out here very, very soon, Valentine's Day.
Before we go on, I got a question for you. Are you going to buy your wife flowers on Valentine's?
Of course.
Okay. No, I'm just asking because there's a couple of guys up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. One's the Spoon. His nickname is the Spoon, and Luke. Like basically, these two guys are just knuckleheads. And they decided that they didn't need to buy their wives flowers. And it was very, very unsettling that they even thought this. But anyways, so why are you releasing it on February the 14th? Because you're in love with the product?
Well,
You see that, Stephen?
That's good. That's really good. I like
played.
but that's the kind of conversation I want to happen. February 14th, Valentine's Day. We're gonna have it off. We're gonna have it on the web that night. Hopefully, we have it be en route to all the vendors by then if they place orders. Right now, this week we're getting demos out to everyone. But I'm thinking Valentine's Day will make for some fun advertising. I can do some interesting, I think of like Craig Martin back in the day when he had BMLA. Craig did some interesting advertisements and in Model Railroader and different things. And so I'm thinking Valentine's Day, yeah, we can make that goal, and we'll have some fun with it probably along the way. And think of some funny taglines to with a cool advertisement we'll put on the website or put on Facebook, whatever it is. So. Yeah,
So what exactly are these things? These are because the one picture says it shows it on top of an Algoma Central gondola, and then the picture above that just looks like a bunch of tops for something.
Yes. So what we're offering is we're offering the fiberglass. There's a few manufacturers actually on the prototype market that make these for cars of various sizes, and so what we're calling is basically we're making a model of the fiberglass lids you see that are on gondolas, hoppers, for containing different types of materials. So a lot of times, especially in the States, you see these gondolas being used for coal ash service or dirty dirt service, radioactive dirt for that matter, come out of different industrial sites, Superfund sites. And that product, because it has an environmental hazard, has to be covered. And these lids are removable. And they also kind of cover, I think, the DOT's requirement for having an enclosure on the car to keep that product from, not blowing around or get into the environment. So we see them a lot in the States, especially on your 52-foot, 52.5-foot gondolas coming out of power plants and sites. Up north, up into the Canadian Shield, northern Michigan, we see those same type of cars being used for ore concentrate service. So up in like northern Michigan, for example, up in the Yooper, there's an operation that's actually bringing out on the Mineral Range Railroad that they actually bring out gondolas of ore concentrate from a former mine, and so it's going to allow folks to model those type of commodities with a simple to remove lid at a really good cost. So it's a nicely printed lid. We go through the process. We prime them, we paint them. And they come with little locks that you install with just a little bit of glue upon purchase, and you get it home. And then within a few minutes, you can have that lid on your gondola.
Wow, that's cool. What do you think? This is. I think for the second half of this show, I'm going to interview you, Stephen, and about the hobby and your store, because I'm excited about the hobby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Greg, I think I'm going to make this, I think I'm going to put this with another part and talk to Stephen about the hobby, because you're a new manufacturer and it's pretty exciting and you're doing so much stuff. It's very, very cool. I can't believe how many products you got already.
Thank you. It's surprising. My wrapped up 2020, I kind of looked at all the orders and where we ship orders to and product lines, and I was astounded to count 56 individual SKUs that we now stock in for Mackreal. It was mind blowing. We've just been so busy pushing forward and pushing ahead and offering new things, and of course maintain what we offer that we didn't look back.
And where did you say you work?
Rail industry.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to check back with you again in a year or two to see what's happening, because this is very cool that you've started this business and it seems to be going so well.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
It's very, very exciting. All right. So that's, let's make sure everybody understands. Yeah. Their website is Mackreal. Hang on here. Let me see.
Mackrealproducts.com.
Mackrealproducts.com. And then there's your blog spot, which, of course, if you go to what you should do is on your website is put a link to your blog.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. That's a great idea. It's a great idea.
It is a great idea. I just had a great idea, Stephen.
Yeah, it can be right there under the, when you go look at the layout thing.
Yeah.
It's already there. It just needs a link there.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Holy man.
There's the boat.
And there's the boat. Yeah. And then, that's a great, wow. So I've just improved your website tremendously. Because after the people hear this interview, they're going to want to go to we're going to go to the layout part, because you got a lot of great pictures of your layout right here on the website. And then, you might as well put a link in there to your blog so people can see that, because there's a lot of great information there too.
Yes, that's a great idea. No, it's, part of it is, for the operator and modeler, it's also, demonstrating to customers that as much as, I am in the business of making products, I am also a modeler, and then showcasing it. Hey, I'm here with you in the trenches as well, testing their products every day on the Michigan Interstate. So it is definitely tested, and always focused on what is a modeler, how would they use it, and what they use it for.
Perfect. All right. Hey, Stephen, can you take us to the next segment, which is probably going to be you anyways?
Oh, we probably want to do, Subway Chimes Go.
You probably want to do Subway Chimes Go.
Subway Chimes Go.
Can you say it like a little? Can you say it like you're a little you're a little more enthusiastic like this?
Subway Chimes Go.
Well, you got to wait till I stop talking.
Oh my goodness.
Gee, what do you, when you're not at the, just for out of interest's sake, because I don't know that much about you, when you're not running one of the country's best hobby shops, one of the world's best hobby shops, do you have another vocation? Another vocation? Yes. Yeah, I work in theater. Okay, so you understand the dramatic, in theater, you got to be dramatic. Yeah, I normally get the GO. The GO, what's that? Well, we're not supposed to say go. Go is a stage manager term. It tells us that it's time. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. We'll try one more time. Subway chimes, go. Is that the red one? That's the button I hit is the red one. And then it goes red. Well, it's actually kind of a dark maroon until I hit it. Is it like blinking? No, it doesn't blink. It just is there. It's just like there. Does it at least like pretend that it's glowing? Yes. Now, like you hit it and it's glowing. Like I hit it like 20 seconds ago and now it's like glowing. Like, oh, you're recording. It looks very similar to like any recording light outside of a studio. Yeah. But it's on computers, so it's like magic. The voice you hear, ladies and gentlemen, is the same voice you heard in the previous segment, which is that of Stephen Atwell, who is the owner of Midwest Model Railroad. And I wanted to ask him a question. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to add this to when we interviewed Greg McComas from Mackreal, who is Mackreal Products, who builds all these really cool little bits and pieces. I couldn't get over how, like, in his business had only been going for like 8 months. Yeah, and that's what he say? He said June or July, May. Sometime right after COVID started. And he's already in some pretty major retail shops. Yeah. He's in main lineup in Pennsylvania. Yep, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And then Spring Creek, Midwest. And was it Arnie's? Out in California. He's sort of got the whole, he's not in every shop, but he's got sort of the regions covered. Yeah. So he does. And so I wanted to ask you a question. Because yesterday and today, the last couple of days, I've been editing an episode with a fellow named Lorne James, who owns Otter Valley Railroad in a place called Tillsonburg, Ontario. And there's a famous Canadian named Stompin' Tom, and he even had a song about Tillsonburg called Tillsonburg. My back still hurts when I hear that word.
He says you want to work in the tobacco fields of Tillsonburg. My back still aches when I hear that word. Well, he said, I'll only give you $7 a day, but if you're any good, you get a raise in pay. Your bed's already on the bunkhouse floor. If it gets a little chilly, you can close the door in Tillsonburg. My back still aches when I hear that word.
Because Tillsonburg is right in the middle of tobacco country in southern Ontario.
And that's midway sort of between you and Detroit, right?
Yeah, halfway between Toronto and Detroit. Right between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings. It's about from Toronto. Yeah, from Toronto, it's a couple hundred miles from Toronto to Detroit. So I'm talking to this guy, and Lauren's a good guy. He's a chartered accountant by trade, and I was getting excited because his shop seems to be doing really well, but he's kind of like you. It's not his main gig, whereas your main gig is working in theater. You're an electrician in theater on Broadway, and you're going to try to someday when Broadway gets going again to maybe get me a part in The Music Man or something, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Yep.
Or at least getting me seats to see it.
That's let's start with the easier tasks.
Yeah. And then the other day you posted a picture from your store. Do you have scissor lifts just like hanging around? You had a set of scissor lifts.
Right now we have scissor lift just hanging around. It's here for construction. They were doing some HVAC work and they've got some electrical work to do, but yeah, it's been here for probably 2.5 months now.
Wow.
And well, since it's here, we might as well get some use out of it.
Yeah.
So we've been using it to hang signs. Had I never driven a scissor lift before, I probably would have been a little bit, I probably wouldn't have gotten in it and driven it around, but I use it for work often enough that I was just like, whatever, there's a scissor lift here. I'm going to use it.
Right. And you took this really cool, I'd be cool to drive a scissor lift down the main street of town, maybe.
I drove it down the main street of Midwest.
Yeah, there you go. How fast does a scissor lift go? Like 5 miles an hour?
No, not even.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It shouldn't really go very fast because you're going to know that someday some moron's going to decide, hey, this would be really cool. I'll drive it while it's fully extended up. And it's like, nah, see, now you've hit something.
It does slow you down when you're extended.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's slow already, but when you're extended, if you want to move, it goes very slow.
Oh, that's a good idea. So I'm going to see if I can ask you this question and try to put it into words. Because I started thinking about you while I was talking to Lauren James, because he is like really cranked about like I was getting annoyed because I was trying to get him to tell me about how exciting it is to run this shop. And he started talking about his gross sales, and he referred to it as a multi-million-dollar business and blah, blah, blah. And I started thinking, that's something I've never really talked to Stephen about. I mean, we've talked before, but I wonder if you can put into words how exciting it is, or what, like you never intended to end up with a 9,000 square foot retail model railroad shop. Ever.
No, that's just, every day when we walk in here, I think all of us that work here are still a little bit overwhelmed about where we are now. It seems that we don't have time every day, but every so often we'll get to walk the store and kind of shop for ourselves. And it's just, it's a huge train store. It's a gigantic train store. It is the kid in the candy store type situation. There's just so much to see. And it is exciting's a good word. It's just really nice to be in here and look around and just see it all, and just it feels good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. Like, does it feel as exciting as it looks like? Because I've been there now, which I'm really glad I went, and like I'm walking around there thinking, this is so friggin' cool. Like, I understand. Like I talk to you sometimes, and you sound very much like a businessman, and you have a lot of great ideas, and you're very in control of the situation. But man, it's just like it's it seems like it would be because you're a model railroader first, and now you've built this fantastic store that I know is going to become a destination for people, just like Spring Creek is a destination for people.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Every time we bring new people on, like Jared and Zach have recently joined us, and they're working here, and they've been regular customers who have now turned into employees as well, and they're like super part-time. They sort of just help out when they can, but Zach has had some time off and spent the last couple of weeks sort of just as our receiving guy, which has enabled me to do some other projects. But he talked to me the other day, and he was just like, I'm dumbfounded. Like, he's like, I knew you guys were doing well, and I knew there was a lot of stuff here, but like, I still can't get my mind around like how much stuff is coming in the door and how much stuff is going out the door. Like, because he's, he never really observed it, and our receiving is right behind our shipping. So like, at the end of the day, when the mailman shows up and they roll these carts to the door, Zach's watching, 3 carts go by, 4 carts go by, and just like, what? Isn't the hobby dying? What is it? What is all this? Where's it all going? And like, it's just, it's nonstop motion. It's like it's like trying to watch. It'd be like trying to watch 2 marching bands on the field at the same time. There's just too many things to focus on.
What a great analogy, like trying to watch 2 marching bands on the field at the same time. What a great analogy. Because it is so overwhelming. I mean, honestly, I feel extremely fortunate to have made a friendship with you, to feel like I get to be kind of come along for the ride, because it's just a fun thing to be part of. And what a great analogy. It's like 2 marching bands. Okay, like to give everybody an idea, we have the thing where you put an AML sticker on every box. Well, the other day, we ordered 10,000 stickers because you pretty much run out of the 6,000 that we bought a few months ago. And yeah. I'm kind of like, we've bought like 16,000 stickers, and that's maybe going to get us to, we're recording. Yeah, we're recording this, at the end of January 2021, and that 16,000, another 10,000 is maybe going to make it to the summer, and it's like, holy mackerel! And I guess what I was trying to, and then when you put up that really cool picture from the scissor lift on the fans page, and I was thinking to myself, man, I wish I could figure out how to ask him the question of the excitement. Because you're doing it because, like, have you ever had any moments now in the last little while where you're kind of going, like, you feel like you're overwhelmed?
Yeah, at least once a day. Like, at least once a day, there's the feeling of like, I'm just never going to catch up. Ever since we moved, there's been a list of things, but it's never been written down, of things we know we need to get completed. Big things on the list are the in-scale layout and the HO scale layout. So the two display layouts need completed. There's stuff, and all the way down to like boring stuff. Like there's some concrete patch that we want to put on the floor, some like frost stuff to apply to the windows so that the back room's not a fishbowl, so that people in there don't feel like they're on display to the world behind them. So but we'd never written it down. And the other night we've had this whiteboard that's there, and it's been clean ever since we moved in. And I got Gary to stand still long enough to say, all right, we need to put everything we need to get done on this whiteboard. We need to actually write this list down. And like mentally, I knew sort of how much stuff there was, but like putting it on a board in front of us in writing, it was finally like, oh crap. Like, how long is it going to take us to get through that list?
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe a better direction for me to ask these to ask the question is, like, a couple of weeks ago you did a Facebook Live, and I was on it, and Ron Marsh was on it from Ron's Trains and Things. Hi, I'm Ron of Ron's Trains and Things.
Hi, I'm Ron of Ron's Trains and Things, and if you'd like to see more model railroad tips, tools, and techniques, then be sure and subscribe down below and click that little bell icon so you can catch future videos.
And you had Greg McComas on it, and you had the president of KD Couplers on it. And then we were talking a few days later, and you felt like sales spiked afterwards for a couple of days.
Yeah, I think it went really I don't know what we really expected to happen from that Facebook Live. We wanted to make ourselves more accessible, and cornering me to get me on the phone is difficult. We've got a lot of great staff, but sometimes people will ask for me specifically, and Harrison has to say, he's busy, he's in another meeting, he's doing other things. Like, is there, and most of the time Harrison can answer the question just fine. It is funny every so often. They're like, no, I'd really like to talk to Steve. And then they were like, all right, what type of rail joiner did I need for the Code 83 track?
Yeah.
I'll come on, ask Harrison. But we were able to make ourselves accessible. Like, sort of, here is this block of time. It's almost like the teacher with their office hours. Like, here are the hours where I'm going to be accessible. All you have to do is show up. And we made this block of time. We got to talk to some manufacturers. And it was ultimately sort of like, all of the products on our website that don't have that little sold sticker on them are here. If you have questions about them, because you can't get to your local hobby shop, you can't, go in and fondle the product yourself, or ask now, and we will go get the product, and we will bring it up here, and we'll show it on camera. And we'll talk about it a little bit, and you'll get to see everything, and then we'll go put it back in the box and put it back on the shelf. And if you choose to make the purchase later, great. If you don't choose to make the purchase later, okay. We got to show the product, we got to interact with the customer, and just that interaction is great. And any time that I think as a shop we can create that interaction with the consumer, we're going to see gains from that. We saw increased traffic the next couple days, which could have been from that, or could have been, it's.
I think personally it was because I was the last guest on the show. That's why
we brought you on as the anchor.
Yeah. But I get that's. I guess my next follow-up question is, like, it almost seems to me like you don't know where. It must be like you don't know where to turn next, because here's something that you can do, the Facebook Live, that wasn't even really conceivable 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, and here you are, not even a new shop anymore. But I mean, in the way model railroad shops go, if you're less than 10 years old, you're a new shop, and here you are coming up basically to 10 years soon, and now you can do Facebook Live shows where you can be on and people can ask you questions. Like, it's like there must be like it just you must not even know where to turn next to what you're going to do to promote the store.
Well, yeah, and one of the interesting parts about like the Facebook Live thing is like, okay, we know we're going to do this, we're going to lock it in. Maybe we'll do it again in the future. We'll see how it goes. And it's like, okay, it went well. We should do it again in the future. And it's like, okay, now what do we do to now what do we need to rearrange in order to enable that to happen? Like any small business owner, I think, the demands for their time are, I mean, you see this at your shop all the time, or your company all the time too. Like you're pulled in every which direction, because you're not just that job or that job or that job. You're sort of just the overall player. And so now trying to find, okay, where we need to be on our end, need to set up a very clear cut. This is what we're going to do. This is how long it takes, and then start budgeting our time to try to make that happen. And I think we're going to get it done. And I think we're going to be able to do these extra things. It's all just a time management situation.
And getting the extra space, because you went from being in your parents' basement, Gary's basement, you had a little tiny bit of space, which you have like 400 square feet or something there.
Yeah, and it was interesting seeing sort of you react the first time you saw the original space.
I was like, seriously?
Like, what have you taken me to? No, there's no way it was in here.
Yeah. And then you went from that to 3,000 square feet, which was probably kind of overwhelming that you were doing that. And I mean, I got a chance to be in that store, and now you're at this 9,000. And the crazy part to me is, it's like, maybe for an hour, maybe for a couple of times, for over a period of a couple of weeks, you had a couple of second thoughts, but you've already surpassed, like, there's no second thoughts anymore. You need the space.
Yeah. And now we're concerned, like 9,000 square feet is going to serve us fine for a year, a couple of years, and we could make it work for a longer period of time. And it's like, there's extra space in the building. Like, are we going to want to expand in a year? Are we going to want to expand in 2 years? If somebody takes that space, if someone takes the adjacent space next to us that's open right now, like, what do we do in 3 years if we need to expand? Or do we stop growing just because, our space is limited? So now we're actually talking, we're already talking about, well, maybe we rent the space next to us and just sort of lock it in just so it's available to us in a year from now, when we really want to do it, when we really need to do it. Gives the landlord the time to say, hey, you don't need to make all these changes immediately. When you have someone taking additional space and you can have one construction crew come in and do multiple things at the same time, as long as we have it in 8 months, as long as we have it in a year. And we're looking at working out deals to try to enable us to stay in this location permanently.
So I just like...
Oh, I hadn't told you that yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So do you, you're becoming fairly well versed in the world of model railroad products. Like, how much, in a percentage wise, although that's the whole thing. Like, even there, in the first segment when we were talking to Greg from Mackreal, it's like there seems like there's new. Like, I understand that a lot of the model railroad companies are cottage industries, but that really doesn't matter. Lots of lawyers are one-guy operations. I mean, there's lots of businesses in North America that are small 2- and 3-man operations. And yet here's Mackreal. It was born in 8 months ago from when we're talking. And now already, like, you just put in a large order to them to restock your product. I mean, how do you even cope with trying to figure out all the products? Because I know there's some fairly large lines that you're not even stocking yet. Like,
yeah, and it there's a list sitting on my desk, and Gary had surgery a few weeks ago, and he's doing fine, but he's limited to how long he can kind of be on his feet without sitting down and taking a break. So he's been sitting down taking a break at the table out in the shop that has the Walther's magazine on it, or the catalog, and he's literally just been flipping through the Walther's catalog, and he finds a brand that has interesting products, and he just writes down a brand name on this piece of paper. And there's a list on my desk now that's got like 14 brands on it. That's like, okay, we're going to carry those lines. And it's about managing time just to bring the lines in. Like, we just picked up the entire JTT scenery line. I think it all arrived, 2.5 weeks ago, and we finally got it all listed last week. And it was just like, there's 640 SKUs in that, or 658 SKUs or something like that in that line. And it's just this overwhelming, like, all right, we have to go slow. Like, we need to keep moving, and we want to keep growing, and we want to become that one-stop shop. But we have to do it within means of, and it's mostly just manpower. Like, we only have so many people that can do so many tasks, and getting someone to sit down at a computer and list products for hours and hours on end, like, where do we got to find where that happy medium of growing versus hiring people we only need for short periods of time, and then we don't need them. We don't want that. We want to be loyal to our employees. We want guys that'll stick around for a while. So, I mean, the lines just seem, the lines just keep growing. Individual products, individual SKUs at current manufacturers, the list gets longer and longer. The list of manufacturers that pop up, or the list of manufacturers that we can add, it's just nonstop.
Yeah, it's like trying to figure out a system for a problem that never existed before, almost. Like, constant new manufacturers are constantly showing up. Like you say, JTT scenery products. I didn't even know what they were until I had visited your shop, and I found out it's a whole scenery line that's manufactured by Model Rectifier, which is MRC.
Yeah, and it'd been a long time. JTT Scenery's been around for a long time, and Model Rectifier picked them up, bought the line at some point. I don't know when. And I know that I'd seen their packaging before. Like, once their packaging started arriving, oh yeah, I've seen that before. And I got to looking at some of like their trees and stuff, and some of their tree, like, there's an HO scale sycamore tree that's sitting out there, and every time I walk down that aisle, I stop and stare at the thing, and I'm just like, I'm going to build a diorama just to put that tree on, because that
Yeah.
tree looks so good.
Yeah, like that was going to be my next question. You got a 4.8 review, by the way, from Google Reviews. You got 84 Google reviews, and your rating is 4.8, which is spectacular. My business, I think I got like 200 reviews, and I got a 4.9 rating, which just blows my socks off.
One of our negative reviews is just like, we went in there, but all they have is product. There's no sort of no layout to look at. And it was like 1 star. And I was like, okay.
That's like my buddy once bought I used to have a friend that owned the local Nissan car dealership, and my buddy was looking for a new car, and I said, hey, you got to go talk to Bob and Larry, and I'll even introduce you to him. I said, because these guys will cut you a good deal, because they sell me a ton of cars. And I go in there, and he bought a car, and he was really happy with the car. And then Nissan sends out this review, and he gave them rather than a 5-star rating, he gave them like a 3-star rating, because there wasn't enough gas in the car.
Oh my goodness!
And Larry says, well, like, I drove back from the gas station. He says maybe it was like 95% full. And he says, like, what was I supposed to do? Like, put a couple of jerry cans full of gas in the back or something?
I really thought you were going to say he left a 3-star review because the majority of the cars on the lot were Nissan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was that too. Man, oh man. So, okay. So we'll get to the end of this, but like your paint aisle is spectacular. Like, did you have a vision in your head of like it was kind of like going to the magic land of model railroading is what you were trying to create? Because that's, to me, like when I got to the store, I at the end, I walked up and down the aisle. Like there is, like I'm thinking to myself while I'm at the store, Stephen is a friend of mine. I can buy anything I want. It's just fun to be here. I'm going to try to soak it all in. And probably by the second aisle, I gave up on the trying to soak it all in thing.
There's a lot to take in. I'm counting in my head. So give me 1 second. I think there's 15 aisles on the sort of scale side, and then another like 10 aisles on the non-scale side. So your DCC scenery type stuff. And they're 50 feet, they're 40 feet long aisles. So I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. And if you and I have joked that like we have a sort of workshop in the back, sort of a wood shop that we can do projects that we've been working on. And really, initially, it was just going to be there for us to do the build out, so that I didn't get dust everywhere while we continued to work in the space. And I think it's going to stick around longer now because we're going to be building the layouts. We're going to be building modules for scenery type stuff. And that room's there. And you and I have joked multiple times that maybe we should put a window in it and sell AML hot dogs.
Yeah.
So people can have a snack by the time they get to the back.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're going to be exhausted. So from a model railroading standpoint, do you think people are still building and constructing other than, because I mean, there's a lot of hand wringing in the hobby and a lot of things ready to run and stuff like that. Do you feel like you still sell a lot of kits? You got Pike stuff, you got Woodland Scenics, you got Walthers. Like, do Walthers kits sell?
Yes. Yeah. Walther's kits sell. Walther's kits sell really well. We don't have like 80 feet of Walther's kits for decoration.
I know.
That's Zach, who works here now, he was like, when we did that Facebook Live thing, he's like, you have to show the Walther's aisle in the back. Cause he said, I have never seen so many Walther's kits in one place in my life. And it's generally speaking, we order them all and we stock them all, and one may be missing or 12 may be missing at a time based on where Walther's is in their production cycle and whatnot. But like they are all there. And it's kind of a sight because it's just this wall of blue.
It is. I've seen it. Okay. So, all right. We've had this discussion 1,000 times. Let's have it one more time and another 1,000 after this. Like, you must get some. I guess what I was trying to say to this other fellow, Lauren, is like you must get some. He was more. He didn't think the hobby was growing, like as I kept saying. I think it's growing like crazy. It's gonna explode, and we're all gonna be covered in goo. Like, I mean, for you to go, like, was it 2011? You and your dad started?
Yeah. So we started in 2011. Let it slowly take over the entire basement by 2018. And we're in a shopping center by January, February 2019, and now in our current facility by October of 2020. And I mean the number of kits we sell, or not kits, the number of sets we sell, like in scale, HO scale train set, it blows me away. There's sets leaving every day, and it's not your model railroader that's been in the hobby for years and years and years aren't buying these sets, right? Like the Bachmann sets are great sets, but your long-term model railroaders aren't buying Bachmann sets. So like these are sets going out to new people in the hobby. We see a lot of sets going to like under 10-year-olds still. Like there's still a lot of parents coming in buying sets for their 10-year-old. There was a couple in the other day with a 6-year-old son maybe, and there's a slot car. There's an HO scale slot car set up in the shop now as well. And the parents went to go shop, and the kids sat there and played with the slot cars, which was great. The parents got to shop, without little Johnny saying, "Can we go? Can we go? Can we go?" And they were there, and then all of a sudden the dad started asking about slot cars a lot. And then he went back, and we had just gotten some more, and he was looking at those and asking about all the prices. He's like, okay, well, I really got to get the train set today. We really got to get his train set today. I will see you in 2 weeks. I'm going to get that set and that set in slot cars. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, it's the number of people that come in that enjoy doing scale modeling is just, it shocks me on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think doing scale modeling is much more popular than people realize, because people like to work with their hands, and you can create something. Do you? Here's a question. This is a great question. I just didn't just think of it, but it's a great question.
We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah, you be the judge of that. Why are some of my questions not so great? Where does a guy go to get to kick around ideas? Like, do you talk to other hobby shops? Do you talk to wholesalers? Do you talk to hobbyists? Do you talk to manufacturers? Like, how do you because you must need to interact with people so that you can get a sense of what the industry's doing and what the hobby's doing. Like, who do you talk to help? Because you're going to make your own decisions, but everybody needs to discuss stuff. So, like,
yeah, I have a few different groups of people that I go to for different things. I have a very close relationship with one of our distributors, who, it's a large distributor, and they carry most of the model railroad brands and a lot of the other hobby brands as well. And we've been working together for 10 years, and I can just send Dave a text and talk about things, and we're very friendly with each other. So it makes that substantially easier. I may go through and put in what I think is a standard order, and he says, "Hey, heads up, this manufacturer has done some weird things in the past. Maybe you should cut that order in half so that maybe in 2 weeks, when they blow the product out right after it comes out for clearance, you're not stuck with all the product at full price." And it's even he'll say, maybe slow down on that brand just because of some habits that brand has established over a couple of years. There's other modelers that I talk to about what's coming out and their opinions on what's coming out. And that way I can sort of judge kind of a quantity of what we should order. There's, I've got a very close Facebook group that I go to that's like Eric Hall and Ron Marsh and Joe and Marcel that we discuss, everything, but we can actually focus occasionally and talk about trains. You and David, we talk multiple times a week. We get Chris in there multiple times from JL Innovative.
Yeah.
Unless you're, or J and L, depending on who's saying it.
Yeah, I say J and L. It's the name of it is JL Innovative.
Yeah. So those groups are great to kick things around with. We've got new guys working here. Jared and Zach are young. I think one of them's 27 and one of them's 30. Their opinion on the hobby is different than anyone else that I talk to, because they're actually, they're part of this hobby, hobbyists that don't exist in their hobby, supposedly. And Zach knows more about the prototype than anyone I've ever met in my life. So he's, that model, I don't know how well it's going to sell. It was really only run by that railroad for about 2.5 months before they scrapped it. I don't know why, I don't know why the manufacturer's producing it. It had a lifespan of 2.5 months, or that model only ran with that railroad for about 9 months before it got bought and relabeled. And I'm like, oh, okay. These are things that, like, I can't keep up with the prototype. Like, I spend, I'm not working in New York right now, and my apartment's in New York, and I haven't seen it in a year. So I spend a lot of time at the shop just because I'm more comfortable here than I am at the house, just because it's my space. I'm in a guest bedroom at the house, but this is my desk. This is my space. So I'm more comfortable here. So I spend a lot of time here, but even still, like, I don't have time to do that type of research. So, asking all these different groups of people and getting all the different voices from all the different age groups, and, people like yourself who talk to a lot of different people in the hobby as well. People like Chris, who's a manufacturer, Dave, who's in the distribution chain, and then in modelers, of different age groups, a lot of different opinions, a lot of different viewpoints, and sort of just try to compile all that down into something that makes sense.
We'll finish with this question. Because now you've had a walk-in store now for what, 3 years now, right?
Yeah, you're going on our third year. Yeah.
Third, yeah. What is in your eyes, and especially because in the last year you've been like right in the store for a year, because up until then, we say you work as an electrician on Broadway. You love that job. You have no intention of giving up that career because you just love it. So eventually you'll go back to it. But for the last year, you've been in the store every day. What is the demographic of the hobby in your eyes? Just in your eyes.
I mean, it's really even difficult to put a single demographic on it, because we see guys that can barely walk through the store buying their trains, and we see, because they're 95 years old and still going. And we see 7-year-olds that have more knowledge about trains than I have to slow down and look things up because they're just going a mile a minute. And I'm just there's a couple kids that are, definitely preteen that'll ask me a question about something, I'll answer, and then they're like, oh, this guy knows about trains, and just, it's like taking the cork out, right? Like here comes all this information. I'm like, whoa, slow down. I'm going to have to look a couple things up that you just said. So I have no idea. And some of their fathers and mothers are both like, yeah, this place is great because we can't keep up with them. Like they can come in here and ask the questions because, even the mother and father are trying to keep up with this kid. And, they're just, the range is, there is not I would say that the only thing I could say that would sort of stereotype at all is it's probably 75% male or better.
Okay. But it's not you don't see what the NMRA sees where everybody's over the age of 60. You're seeing a whole wide range, because that's what I see. I mean, I see a whole wide range of people involved in the hobby age-wise now. Like it's almost becoming, by the day, it's almost becoming the age range is really anywhere from 10 to 100.
Yeah. I will say if we broke it down by how much time they spend in the store, and, if I broke that down by age group, I would say the majority of the time spent in the store is 50 to 70 years old.
Yeah.
Because the 10 to 30-year-old range tend to come in, know exactly what they want, get the thing, check out, and out the door. Like they're not, we don't have a lot of the 10 to 30-year-old range that comes in and just goes browsing. But the quantity of the people coming in, I think it's a clean mix.
Yeah, exactly. So if we didn't go by time because guys that are older have time, but yeah, that's an excellent. I bet you if you looked at it just as in who's coming in the store, not how much time they're spending in the store, but who's coming in the store, it's probably like I said, 10 to 100 with the bulk of it being 20 to 70.
Yeah, I would say if we took a mean or an average, we'd end up in that 40 to 50 range, 40 to 55 range.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think the mean average, the average age has gone down from what everybody thought was 55 and older. I think it's gone down to 40 to 55 is the average age, with a whole pile of guys under 40 and a whole pile of guys over 60. I think it's completely changed, which is why nobody can seem to keep up. I mean, we've talked about, I got to get Jim Scores back on here. And I mean, I know he can't keep up. Nobody seems to be able to keep up as much as they want to. Nobody seems. Now, Chris Costello of J&L Innovative, he'll never catch up, but that's another whole story.
I really hope that 6-month supply really gets there. But
yeah.
And that's the thing. We talk about this in the shop all the time in the shipping department. You don't want to catch up. Like, I mean, we keep guys on to make sure all our orders get out. So there's never like a lag, but at the same time, John may say, I was down to 14. I was going to finish it on the next batch, but now there's 36. What happened? And it's like, to be honest with you, I would always rather be that than I would rather always see a number there than a 0. There's 0 awaiting shipping. Like, yes, it does feel good when you're that shipper. And I like on a Saturday when Richard and I are shipping, like we joke all day long about, all right, I finished my batch. You're about done with your batch. If we both, if we like, it doesn't count unless we're all done. If we can update it and it still says 0, like that's the win. That's the win point. But even then, it's a fleeting moment. Generally, it's like, well, it says 0. 3 minutes later, it's like, all right, back to work.
Wow. I can't even imagine what that's like to be. Well, I mean, I can't imagine it because the podcast has grown like crazy too over the last few years. I mean, everything, everybody's just dying for information, dying to be immersed in it. Like, well, we could talk about this for hours, and we've talked about it for 41 minutes. So we'll stop. One last question: how many employees do you have?
Or 6,
7. 7. Yeah.
6 on site and 1 in California.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you have a lady in Cal. And really, 6 guys can keep up with that? I mean, there's
no.
Yeah.
It's 6 employees plus myself, Gary, and Alice, and we.
So there's really 9 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soon to be 12 or 13, probably.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We have to. Once I start hearing of a date that maybe I'm going back to New York, we have to start looking at what it'll take to replace me here.
No, you can't be replaced.
What it will take to supplement me here.
Yeah. I can be replaced, but you can never be replaced. Ron Marsh, well, no, that's a whole different story altogether. Hi, I'm Ron of Ron Strange. I just say that now so that I can, what I did is I just say that so that I can put in the recording I have of Ron saying, hi, I'm Ron of Ron Strange. That just cracks me up every time I do it.
Yeah, if you want more model railroading tips, tools, and techniques, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below and like this video.
Yeah, and he was
on with the regular subject.
Yeah, exactly. He was busy making a video today, and he's like, "Oh, I can't come on the podcast. I'm making a video," and I'm like, "Yeah. We can't all be pretty boys, Ron. Come on." All right, that's it. So we have a website. No, we have an email address, modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modelers. Like with 1 L, like Midwest Model. No, that's got 2 L's.
No, it has 1 L.
No, Midwest Model Railroad. Yeah. Are you familiar with the business at all?
Yeah. That's 1 L like Mackreal.
1 L like Mackreal, not 2 L's like Atwell.
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. And we have a website, modelerslife.com. Go there and. There's episodes, there's upcoming episodes, there's episodes that we've aired, there's pages about the crew, there's a couple of clinics on there, there's other stuff on there, there's a whole what do you call those things? The things where it describes all.
Were you about to say an appendectomy?
Yeah, that's what I was. What's the word? Appendix? No, it's not appendix. What is
index?
Yeah, there's an index. No. I should look. I'm going to look at the website right now and see what it says. See what I called it. Here it is. Let's see. It is the Model Railroad Glossary. I can't say any words. How is it possible that a guy that can't speak has a podcast?
I play board games every Saturday, and we play it online. And there's a bunch of, and it's the group of people that I play with. We intentionally butcher words, and I don't know where it started from, and I don't know why we do it. But like, one of the games we play has these panoramic cards of panoramic pictures that you collect along the way, and it's become just common to say, "Oh, look, Steve got a Panamera card," and it's I don't know why, but we just butcher these words on purpose.
Still, the guy that has a podcast should be able to pronounce more than 27 words. What else? Okay, I covered the email address. I covered the website. And if you want, Stephen, did you know this? If you want AML merch, like hats or T-shirts or hoodies or mugs.
Are those available somewhere?
Yeah, they are all available at Midwest Model Railroad out there in Independence, Missouri. And if you go to Midwest Model Railroad's website, midwestmodelrr.com, and go across the navigation bar and hit the AML button, boom, you are in a wonderland of AML stuff that you can buy. And that's cool because there's all kinds of stuff there to buy. Let's see, what else is there? I think that's it. I think we pretty much covered it. Are you ready? So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10.
Oh, I was waiting for my GO.
You apparently weren't ready. I was ready. You weren't ready. I sure hope you can get me like a bit part in the music, man. I'd love that. It doesn't have to be a speaking part. Although I could play like the kindly old shop steward or something. Right before he starts singing You Got Trouble, he walks over to the shop steward, Mr. Duncan or something like that. And he says, "Excuse me, I could be that guy." Like I hardly say anything. 2 lines.
Do that background, the background scenery, the movable scenery, flexible prop.
Yeah, think of me as movable scenery. Yeah. Are you ready? I'm going to say get ready. I can't say go because we have our little thing. So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
Midwest Model Railroad customers.
Well, you got to say it with some gusto.
I'm laughing about it. I'm sorry.
This is your 3rd attempt, and then we're bringing somebody else in. Yeah, I could have been a contender. There's no. I can always. Now I'm thinking of Ethel Merman doing "There's No Business Like Show Business." Why is that?
There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing. Everything the traffic will allow. Nowhere can you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bow. There's no people like show people. They smile when they are alone. Yesterday they told you would not go far. That night you open and there you are. Next day on your dressing room they hung a sign.
Oh man, you know how many people are upset about that now?
Why?
It's now stuck in so many heads.
Yeah. There's no business like show business. Are you ready? This is it, man. This is your last try. Gusto, what you said was good, but you got to have a little enthusiasm to go with it. I don't want to have to adjust the speed and the tone of it when I'm editing it to make you sound like you give a crap.
Oh, like, okay.
All right. So remember, a Modeler's Life podcast is considered marginally adequate by 6 out of 10
scissor lift drivers.
Me and my husband love you to come and visit us at Texan Edna Boyle's Model Railroad Emporium. This week we have Athens Gold Hustler on sale for the low price of $19.95. Right, Tex?
That's for sure, Edna.
We got over 400 square feet at the back of our double wide. We're open 3 hours a day, so bring the whole family. Bring your Aunt Dorothy and Uncle Gus. We got free parking. It's cookout weekend, so come on down to Texan Edna Boyle's Model Railroad Emporium and get a free budgie for the kiddies.
It's another Lincoln Homer.